Awesome. All right.
All right, YouTube and Facebook. It's Carolyn and
Interwebs.
Myron. Carolyn and Myron, and we got one of our good buddies here, Luke Anderson from the. Are you in Dallas? Where are you from?
I'm from South Lake, Texas.
South Lake. Okay, so he's like right around the corner.
By the airport, uh, home of the Carroll Dragons. They take
Awesome.
football real serious, but we're about to take this real estate real serious. So
Love it. Yes. So
Yeah.
Perfect.
we just met Luke. I think it was a little bit of a divine intervention, or
I did too.
Oh.
I didn't tell Austin this, but it was a random Eventbrite ClickFunnels. I got hyper tunneled into like clicking the right thing at the right time, and signed up to go to this network and mixer. And Myron it was just this band of misfits that felt like a church. And I was like, man, this is my vibe.
Yeah.
Like everybody, nobody, there wasn't like, it wasn't filled with suits and fancy watches and people looking at each other, sizing each other up. Like you could look at some guy and, there wasn't partiality there, which, I have what's made me good at sales is I have a keen ability to like read people, and if I feel like there's a situation of like people aren't, and which is insane about that is this area is filled with comparison of success and wealth. And we're sitting in that restaurant and like when you don't feel that, you recognize and you don't like that. So some people like that. So that's like a familiar like deal for them. So they really like that. But when I don't like that, I don't like going to places like that. And I'm like, wow, normally this restaurant kind of be like that. But this is
Right.
this is feeling like legit. Everybody wants to help each other here, which is like, that's what church is supposed to be. But that's another day, another topic, right? So.
Yeah. So this was at our meetup last Tuesday. Luke happens to find our meetup. He joins in. He brought his lovely wife along and some other
Jess is
friends.
on here. She's juggling 3 kids, but she's a real superhero.
And what did you tell her? What did you tell her that night? That you were just going to go take her out to dinner or something?
No, I told her that night that I clicked on it in the middle of the night. I said, there's this cool real estate meetup thing. And I said, so if we get a babysitter, I ought to bring you. It'll make us look good. And basically, she's like, yeah, I love it. Let's go. And,
love it. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And she doesn't have a partial bone in her body. She's a saint, And so she's like, and she's a big reader too. And she goes, I think this is the new wave. She's like, these are your people. So
that's amazing.
Love it.
That's the unsolicited sales pitch. Okay. Here, links will be coming. Okay. To, give your credit card info to Myron and Carolyn.
No way ever.
No. Seriously. I've been wanting to pivot from my construction business for a while. I had some real estate experience. My dad has a lot of long-term holds, and he's done a lot of wizard, warlock, creative finance stuff in the back end. I didn't learn a lot of that until I started figuring out how to ask the right questions on some of it.
Uh-huh.
And then basically, ironically, my first house that I ever bought was an owner finance house from a guy that I knew that played in the league, and we were in a Bible study, like prayer group together, and this one family had outgrown this house, and the league didn't work out, and so I was sick of paying rent, and then I was gonna have Colt, our firstborn, and so I said, hey, Kenyon, I want to owner finance that house from you. And I said, but I'll remodel the floors and I'll paint, and that'll be my down because I don't have no cash. And he goes, that sounds like good enough equity for me. and my payment was $737 a month. And I had a 2,000 square foot house in Fort Worth that's worth like 450 or something now, which is insane.
Wow.
My family was custom home builders, dude. So I was like, I can't believe I'm paying 65 for this house. This is insane. It's so expensive. And now it's like, I mean, anyway, so yeah, we're kind of we've been throwing everything at the walls, and I'm just super pumped that I'll have somebody to call on to help me, because we want to be whalers. I want to be a whaler. You know, the old stoic whaling fleet. You know, you just had to be crazy. You get on a small boat, you got a rope and a harpoon, but you tie up the other boats. Then you tire that sucker out, baby, and you take down a whale.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what a team needs to be. So
Love
Yep.
it.
That's our goal too, man.
cool. Let's take down whales. He's got a couple deals we're already going to look at. We've just been smiling and dialing and cold calling. I don't know what the price point is, but I guess like how fast do you get lending? When was y'all's first deals? Well, I guess, yeah, let's go. I need some. Should I write on that?
So are we doing a deal breakdown right now?
I don't know. What are we?
Well, this is like this for us is like, let's talk about Luke Anderson. Let's talk about where he's been.
Okay.
Story is what people want. They want to know where you came from and how you got here and what your plans are going forward. So,
okay.
You and I talked for a minute, and you said some things like, you're having struggle catching a break.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be negative. That's not what we're here to do. Just be negative. But like,
The reason I'm even on this call is because I don't quit.
Exactly right.
That's why anybody would ever be on this call or ever be able to get in some sort of, because there's sub two, but it's really the person, but some people will never even show you that there's another escape route.
Yeah.
And the more I dive into this, the more I realize, man, that if people knew there was an escape route of something that is like overwhelming and they're drowning, then, and that's the appeal, right? Like that's the appeal. Like my story is, it's fucking hard, man. Like, I mean, I don't know, I've seen a lot of shit in my day, man. I'm probably one of the most multicultural guys from this area. My dad's best man at his wedding was a Hispanic immigrant. My best man at my wedding was my black buddy, Dexter L. Simmons. Shout out to Dex in Houston from, Fifth Ward. I was a junior college guy because I was a knucklehead in high school. And I was an academic non-qualifier. I was class ranked 604 out of 660 people.
Mm-hmm.
barely got that diploma. And then I ended up going to college, and then I ended up with a degree that you don't need.
What degree was that?
Yeah. So.
She asked you what degree.
Oh, it was communications. My degree was in communications, but.
I think it rubbed off.
Yeah, it rubbed off, but immersion really teaches you communication that can transfer to dollars. It's one thing to type it out. It's another thing to be able to talk about it, live it, and make it simplified. That's why PACE has made a scalable business and a product that everybody's like, that's attainable. And it's really selling the intellectual property of experience and a story. And that's why people go, I want to buy that. I want to buy that. I want to be able to, get on the elevator and expedite like all the, suffering that it would take for me to get out in the unknown completely, like, and trial by fire, essentially, which is like how I mean, I kind of learned that way, man. I was like 9 years old. My dad dropped me off in a neighborhood and said, knock every door in here. And we were trying to chase storms and do roofing back in the heyday. And he goes, you're still young enough. You probably get some leads, pay you $10 a lead.
Love it.
And so, you know, we grew up in a day and age where, you know, people still answered their door. They weren't afraid of everything, you know?
Right.
And so I think that's a big contributor to why, you know, if there's any hesitation out there on anybody, you know, whether it's Subto or any venture that you're going to do, but deep down there's a longing in your heart to do something different, or there's a longing to go, I know I was meant for something bigger, right? But you have this fear that society and everybody puts on you, and you wear it. Fear is not a badge of honor. It is a crippling substance. And so, man, like, I've just had, you know, a lot of divine adversity, I would say. Like, you know, it's one thing like when some of the stuff is self-inflicted, when you're a bad steward of your money, or you cheat on your wife, or, you know, you're not good to people. You're not bringing the value that you say you're going to bring. You know, I've stood by my word. I've stood by my workmanship. I've tried my best. I've pissed off a lot of people. But I've met a lot of awesome ones, and I've made an impact to a lot of people already that, you know, I didn't even think that it would be that big of a deal, and it was to them. And I like that. I want to see people win. And I think when I felt that vibe, I'm like, finally, you know, like finally, it's not just me. Like everybody can win. This fucking money is not a pie. Money's not a pie. And dude, the Lord, he's got cattle on 1,000 hills. There is no lack in his throne room, man. And so that's what I'm trying to like, I'm going out. I prayed this a couple days ago. I said, Lord, I will go out in the darkness. I will get on the boat, but please, eventually will you give me a navigational course? I prayed that. And so
that's powerful.
Whoa. I'm paying for the course, but that's okay. I didn't ask for it for free.
Right.
You know, so
I want to really quick break this down. We have a couple people watching. So
I need to work on my language. I know.
No.
Not at all.
That's not
you're authentic.
You're in with it, man. So like Luke was scrolling around on somebody's Instagram. Who was that, Luke?
Jess Marshall.
Some kind of meetup. There was an
He's
event.
A contractor in Dallas, autograph construction. Ironically, we met each other from getting like kind of screwed on like a mentorship thing that like wasn't what it was advertised about. There was no Zoom call. There was none of that. I mean, you'd have to dig and work really hard to find somebody's phone number. And then they were like, oh, no, you can't come to the office and meet anyone here. We're not going to teach you about. We gave you the ebooks and the software that you would pay for. Also, that would be extra to do ClickFunnels on your own business, and you would have to design it yourself. So, you know, when I was starting a business, man, and I'm doing anything I can to get advertising on construction.
Right.
$3,900 for some sort of group that I thought would do something for me, at least network me into getting my return back, bare minimum. So me and him met each other. We were like, oh, dude, this is a hoax, huh? So you know too. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm getting screwed here. And so we ended up like meeting up from that. So
Luke goes on Jess Marshall's. He clicks on one of his stories or his link in his bio, and it leads into Eventbrite. And then he just starts scrolling, and he finds our meetup that we put on last week with Pauline and her team. And he shows up with his wife. And just by his energy and like the attitude he had, we were like, who's this guy? Who's this guy in Subto that we've never met? Just because he was so so communal and like already in with the family that we are. And we find out he's
Yeah,
he
Myron's like, "Are you not in this group?" I'm like, "What's
yeah.
sub two?"
And he's like, "What is sub 2? I don't know what sub 2 is." But no, he was an active person in the crowd, like plugging his own brand and business like he should. And we were just all there to like, hey, who can help each other? Who can help one another? And he was down for it. And then today he officially joined sub 2. And it's just wild. Just it's amazing that
Yeah, it is wild for sure. And Myron, and I'll tell you, I don't think this would have happened if I would have gotten everybody's phone numbers and then them not answer. You know, I got everybody's. I tried my best to like make sure I got, because there was chemistry, right? So I made sure that I got people's numbers and was like, all right, let's put this to the test now, because I've been to these type of things, right? Let's put it to the test. Let's call Myron. I'm going to call him. I'm not going to text him. I'm not going to send him a Snapchat or whatever.
which
Yeah, I'm going to call, and if he answers the fucking phone, okay, if he answers the fucking phone and he doesn't talk me off the line in 30 seconds, then I know there's some bitches about it. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I know I gotta work on the language, but that's the facts. Like, so he was like, okay, bro, I'm super busy, but he was, handling his business. It's this whole thing is a lot of spinning plates, man. You were like the spinning plate guy doing these different things. When you're learning something new, you're trying to run a business. You got families out there. You got people that are, don't have a family yet, but they have dreams, they have aspirations, and they're like, what do I do next too? What about that? And I'm like, dude, trust me, I go home thinking about that too. And so, you're spinning all these plates, but then you take the time out, because if you see the golden people and you give, like, it's going to come back. And I mean, I'm hoping on that. I'm planning for that. So I put Myron to the test. He answered. He's like, hey, bro, here's the next steps. Not like in a multi-level marketing gay way. He's just like, hey, well, there's like a link, you'll probably end up getting like an email randomly. They'll hack your info because you're watching so much of the Space Morby shit. And then, I'm just, there's only so much content I can take in and not go like, well, is there somebody that I could drive and have a coffee with or a beer with and like actually see them doing this in person? That's how I learned sales. I had to go for a ride along.
Yeah.
I couldn't learn. And so part of that, as far as getting into these groups and all of that, is, which is a good business model, right? Sell the intellectual data. Here's the ebook. Please don't ever call me. I put it all out there, bro. You got to learn it. Well, some people can't learn from an essay. And I'm not one of those people. You teach me how to run an angle grinder and change the blade. I can watch you do it about 5 times and then you throw it on the ground and say, change that blade. I watched you do it a couple of times, but now if I have the tools, I can change the blade. And so that's what you need. That's what you want.
So when Carolyn and I were coming up, I mean, we didn't know about Sub 2. We saw Bigger Pockets, right? I think that's kind of everybody's story, but when we saw Bigger Pockets, it's still, the community I'm not gonna bash Bigger Pockets. They give a lot of great information, a lot of great tools, but I felt it was so competitive. Like, this is what I did. This is what I did. And you ask for help and they're like, what?
And there was like a disconnection. It was only like forum based, and there just wasn't any like
the roofing groups are like that. The roofing groups, the insurance restoration groups are like that. They're like, well, why don't you run your business this way? And you're like, I said, I just posted this whole thing of the exact situation, and you're telling me a solution that is unattainable. But thanks for putting your 2 cents out there, making me feel like I'm an idiot.
Right.
So you get some of that for sure.
And so when we found Sub 2, and you're right. Like there's a lot of information in there to watch and to learn and to go over, and maybe you understand it, maybe you don't.
I have a
But
general understanding of it, dude, and it is a lot. It is overload, man.
yeah,
Like, so for a lot of people, it's gonna intimidate them, you know.
right,
But you try to pick one thing a week, maybe.
right. So something that Pace did recently was he kind of broke down who you are. Like the other day, you and I were talking, and you said, Myron, Myron, I'm a breach man. I was like, what is a breach man? Right. And so like the avatars is like, who are you and who can you be for a team? Because when you're starting out, you got to have your team. I think that's something else we talked about too. But like the moment we stop trying to do stuff by ourselves is really the moment that it clicked. And so that's why I said, Luke, we got to do a live. We got to do a live because I think you have a lot to offer.
Yeah.
The community, you think a certain way, you act a certain way. And a lot of people need that person in their life. And so like I was telling Carolyn, like, I'm really thankful we met him. I didn't know you'd sign up for sub 2 in the next week, but like that didn't matter. You know, I was gonna.
No, that didn't even matter.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it was cool because you know, you didn't pressure me into getting into the group, whether it be monetary gain or whatever, you know, that speaks volumes too. But I just felt like, you know, it took me a week and a half to even know that you guys put out a reel and I was in it. I was like, babe, look at this. I'm like that. I'm like, I can't scroll through Instagram a lot, man, because like, it's just, fugazi, man. Like there's nobody out there that's gonna like, film their kids at dinner time and you don't have nothing cooked. That's really like what it's like reality. You have this funny memes like reality, like like anyway. But I think I think I have that ability, and so do you. And I think we were kindred spirit there, where you're like, where you don't sit there and size everybody up. And there's a humble beginnings thing, and people that it's almost a disservice if you've been hindered on that. And I found that out. Over time after being bitter, because I was like, why does it always feel like such a goddamn uphill fucking climb without a harness over here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And dude, like, if anybody is watching this or will watch this, just keep going an inch at a time. Hold on. There's people out there that are ascending to, or they're gonna come down from summit and they're gonna link you in with a carabiner. Like that's yeah, and I think so. The humble beginnings thing, I cut you off again. I'm pretty shitty at that. So anyway, keep going. So breach man.
What was I saying?
You were talking about who
breach man. Yeah.
Breach man.
It's just that, you and I were talking, and that we were thankful to meet you because the people in your life that I'm reading a book right now, and they said
what book are you reading?
The Power of One More. The Power of One More.
Oh, Ed Milet. Did it come out?
Yep.
Nice.
And it says, what is within you is what surrounds you, right? So the way you think about yourself, the way you are, your self-confidence, right? You're going to attract the like thing.
Insane people. This is insane. Yeah, keep going.
Yep. So I was like, and there's levels to life, right? There's seasons and there's levels, and I'm like, I think Luke is our step up together, right? Not us stepping on you. Just like this is kind of our.
It's that carabiner reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a launch pad. This is like it's the you know, yeah, I'm going to help be you guys' water boy. Just like the movie. I may talk funny, you know, but, you know, it's going to be tackling fuel.
Oh, we love it. And we want to be the same for you in the capacity that we can. Like, that's exactly what this entire community is about. And I'm sure like this is a lot of fire hose information for you right now. And you have the right mindset about it of like taking it off by chunks and knowing your limits of like what you want to focus on and where you want to go. But
what's
like,
crazy about it is I've had like literally like downloads of entire business plans, and I gave Myron like 1/16 maybe of like the capacity that's in my brain on like creative thinking of like literally none of these were like real estate like transactional things. It was like, you know, and like this Noah's Ark theory of investing, and then I look up and like, oh, like I guess that's, you know, a burr and hold.
Yeah.
You know, 2x2x2x2. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. And but it all links up to the power of one more, right? And I didn't know the wording for that, but I felt that knocking doors with one salesman that would ever knock with me. And I said, are you willing to do whatever it takes? It's February, bro. There's no work. We're storm guys. Okay. It's the dead of winter, but I've done a couple repairs over here in Keller. And if you knock doors with me and we get, you know, and I did sell a job out of that repair. So we'll knock doors. And we sold like 130 grand in like a week and a half, like gross work, like just roofs. Okay. Knocking doors in Keller. All right. And I was like thinking to myself, this is insane when one other person will actually believe you.
Right.
Like there's like this crazy like power of favor. And it's like, whoa. And it says that biblically, right? Like when the two or more are gathered in my name, like, you know, like pray to me. Right. And so some people may not have the spiritual, like, you know, wording that I kind of throw in there every day, but you know, just on a non-religious type wording, right? Like there's a vibration, there's a frequency that is going to be where you want to be, okay? And that is going to be synonymous, and it's going to be like a voice recorder. It's very similar to life. Like you have this, you know, as the volume gets loud, it's loud, right? And the frequency of that sound band expands, it gets big. Then it kind of neutralizes, boom, just like a heartbeat. And so you want to be in the heartbeat, baby. Like we want over 120 beats. That's where we're at. We want to be over 100 beats per minute. And when we're like that, then you're gonna go into the upper levels. And so I'm totally confirming what you're saying, bro. Like I believe that like this is what's gonna happen, but it's kind of crazy because I'm like, I gotta pick one. And you said that you gotta pick something, bro. Like
yes.
I know your mind is racing with all this different shit that's going on, but like, you know. So
what I was telling Luke was decision and commit.
yeah.
And it's even just the mindset of it is, you know, I want to take down a whale. You have a vision.
There's such a deep well for that. The mindset thing is like this, like podcast worthy. It's like insane. I mean, the years of suffering and the years of adversity and the years of development and research and people burning your ass, and then you give them another chance and they burn your ass again. And then you're like, ah, dang, okay. And then you're like, but all people can't be bad, or else I'll fucking never talk to people. I'll sit in the house. And like the development of hope, and then the development of your mind process to, you know, Grant Cardone, he's charging people arm and a leg, dude. And you guys are out there, real tangible people that are going, yeah, you want to 10x this shit? Let's do it. So
yeah.
But that's my advice, man. We make a decision on what we're doing.
Okay.
We commit to it. We commit to it daily, because you can commit to something and then that fire burns down, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep putting kindling on that. You got to keep putting a log on it.
Yeah.
And inch by inch, you get down, like just exactly your whale story, man. You wear it down. And then you look back and you're like, oh shit, look what we just did.
Okay, so stages, right? There's another person like me, right? They maybe they're not like me, but they want to get in. Okay. And take us through the short version, with not much detail of the L's and how bad they hurt, but just the true L's. Okay. The statistics of how many months it took you to get your first deal, and then you locked in with like some help, and then how fast that was.
Love it.
For sure.
Just on single family wholesale. Let's just try that.
Right.
Yeah. We joined this month will be a year. On the 19th is our 1 year date of being in Subto. Okay. And yeah, before that, we didn't really know what the hell we were doing. We were just kind of like paddling, treading water. And then we joined Subto. And it was, like fire.
Are you going to cry on me?
Huh?
Are you going to cry?
Am I going to cry? No, maybe. I don't know. I've cried a lot. Like,
I know. It's sister, for sure.
It's cry worthy. So gosh, we joined in August. I was literally at a Bigger Pockets meetup myself. And I was talking to one of my friends there, and she mentioned Pace Morby. And I was like, some Pace Morby guy, he works in creative finance, whatever. He does YouTube videos. I come home and he dives right into it. And we're at that point, we're like doing YouTube University shit. We're like, how do we just gain more knowledge? And then probably 3 days later, he was on a call to sign up. And I'm like, okay. At that point, we knew we needed some formal education, and we needed.
It's ironic though, because almost to like just y'all are maybe like 20 days ahead, but that's almost the date of when you started. So if I start, like this is like, so you're a year in, and now you're like a badass mentor doing multiple deals daily.
Yeah.
Right. Good year. Love that. Okay, keep going.
No, so like it took a while. So we joined Subto, and I was like, okay, I know we need the education. We know we need the community. He was more of like the front man. He entered into it right away. And I think I know I was more skeptical at first, and I was kind of like peering over his shoulder, like, what is this? Because it just sounds too good to be true, right? Like like what is this? So anyway, we got
man tactics anyway.
What'd you say?
All wives got are subconsciously questioning their husbands anyway. So it's not.
I don't know. It was that.
I think it was like Pace Morby. Like,
right.
Pace, is that a name?
This?
Yeah,
It wasn't
like,
I was like, let's do it. It wasn't him.
Right.
It was more like, who is this guy? What did we just get into?
What are we about to spend another
Right.
50 grand on that they're going to throw at us?
Right.
And
Yeah, whatever.
Good.
Anyway, we
Y'all got two girls.
We got two girls.
Yeah. Okay. Like I'm telling you, man. Like you got to tell people that, because like kids ain't cheap.
No.
So like so your risk and reward here is like you can't throw that money out the window if it doesn't.
No, absolutely not. And that was probably a lot of me and my mentality at that time. It was like scarcity mentality of like, we don't have W-2s. Like he left his 6-figure W-2 last May, 2021. We don't have anything. We have money. We have some change to live off of. And then, okay, we're going to put money investing into our education. Okay. And then we got two girls that need to be fed. We have a roof over our heads and all this stuff, all the bills. So we're like, okay. And we get in, and we actually got to have a ride along with Pace. The next month, we flew out to Arizona. just like a random occurrence that he posted on his Instagram. And so he picked us to go, not exactly knowing that we were Sub-2 students at the time. And we went out there and we got to do a ride along. He's like, I'm going to go do take you over to all my fix and flip sites and everything like that. And we're like, okay, awesome. And then it was an amazing experience because he actually took a lot of the time and he like zoned in on me. And it wasn't even about real estate. It wasn't even about Sub-2. It was like, I see something in you guys, and you're not living up to your full potential, and you need to.
No, he said, I'm going to correct you. He said, Carolyn.
Okay. Well, I mean,
He said, Carolyn, you have something and you're not living up to your full potential, Carolyn.
Yeah. And that was
real quick. Hey, we got to be the heads. You know what I'm saying? So part of that is like you hear that and you feel that too when somebody else is encouraging that. It's not like a whole like, oh, you know, like what am I, chopped liver over here? It's like it's a call to action for both of you guys. So like,
for sure.
Yeah.
And Myron considered it, and I do too. It was like a blessing for that moment to happen because he knew I needed that in my own way. And for a complete stranger that lives on YouTube to like do that and pour into you immediately is like, what's happening? So anyway, at that time, I'm like, okay, this is legitimate. Like, no one cares that much to do that for their own whatever. Anyway, so we had a great time. We stayed out there for a week. We got to be around that kind of amazing energy of his work environment and everything. And came home and we're like, what the hell do we do? And we still treaded water after that for probably close to 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close to 3 months.
Here's why.
Because we were still in the mentality of like, we have to do this all on our own. Like we were still in this, like, we have to cut our teeth. We have to learn every single step.
But she's not. But yeah. Anyway, I get it. Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
So we were still living in that cycle of like, it's Carolyn and Myron against the world, and we have to figure out every single step all on our own. We're not quote unquote worthy if we don't know every single step. And then finally we're just like, shit, gave in and gave up to like accepting help and accepting the true community that Sub-2 is. And like, we need help. We need
I didn't want like a salary. I wanted to like, you know, pay me on results, right? I wanted to be paid on results. And so I put a message out there, and so when you join Sub-2, you get into the Facebook group, and I said, I know systems. Let me help you with your systems. I don't know how to, but I'm going to figure it out because that's the type of person I am. I don't know what I'm doing, but let me figure it out. And there was a guy named Tyler that said, I'll teach you. Literally, he taught me like everything, stem to stern, what he wanted me to do. And it was one of the best things that ever happened. It was literally like it changed. This whole thing has changed our lives. But
sure.
when I'm not saying latch on to somebody, Luke, I'm saying get in front of people that are like us, that get you, that are on the same wavelength to a degree.
Yeah, but that's I mean, you know, what area code are you? Where do you live? You live in Texas. You got like a 417 number. What is that? Numbers
I know, right? We need to change our numbers because
we've been talking about that, but no. So we met in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we just kept that. And so no, we're in Richardson.
Okay. Yeah, because you know, when all of this is all over the map, right? Like you go, well, meet some people like us, and I'm making a joke about the area code, but because it's like you got this vast network of, you know, typewriter warriors, I guess, and people that, you know, could be lending an aid, but like tangibly, what was the test, right? Is he going to answer the phone? His personal line, right? And so, you know, because when you have a fucking deal on the line, it's like you got a gosh darn offshore fish on the line, and you need a gaff man.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I told the guys in there. I'm like, bro, maybe we'll have just a team of gaff men. So if we got, you know, fish flying everywhere, we got lines out, they're all getting, the longer they're out there, they get tangled.
Oh,
if you don't have a proper gaff man. And so these first early deals, you know, if you guys could be our gaff man and help me gaff that some bitch getting into the boat, then we're gonna have a meat haul. You know what I mean? And so that's what we need. So anybody needs, just like starting. You know, it's hard enough. Here's the deal with this. The metaphor for all this is faith is like getting on the boat. Everybody that is stuck in the W-2 and all of that, man, they are the people that talk about the crazy mariners and tell a story about the mariners, bro. They talk about the stories and the history of the whalers.
Yeah.
Because it took balls to leave the dock, brother. You know? And so like I love it. I'm willing to step out in faith and do that. And so y'all got tied in. He taught you some systems. And then what did it look like, you know, point of contact as far as the cold calling, as far as your back office? Like what did that look like? You know, setting up your list. Did he show you how to do that? Like,
Yep.
You know, okay.
Yep. I mean, there's plenty of YouTube University stuff on that. You know, what programs to get, how to pull a list, how to pull, you know, everybody has the best list, right?
I get firsthand real knowledge and experience from somebody that's a tangible guy like you that goes, this is what's worked for me. This may work for you. Exactly. I'd rather just take it as a referral source instead of going, hey, check this website out. I mean, this is great, but you know, they can give you the cliff notes on everything. That's what the power of, like, you know, meeting up and the power of one more, all that. Like you get the lightning strike spark notes, you know, to expedite everything, because bro, like people are getting squeezed.
Yep.
People are getting squeezed and everybody's feeling it, right? And so that's you know, I got this kid, he's you know, by the grace of God, he's bailing out on a hard money loan. But I hired this kid. He's 21 years old. He's still in school. But he invested in his first property in Houston. Somebody was teaching him about wholesaling. Dalton, are you still here? I don't know if he's still here. I think we're getting kicked out soon, so we may have to like resume this at a later date. But because I lease this office, okay. Eventually, I will own one. All right. It's like, but a light industrial fucking shot up the roof. And I was like, great, I got this liquid money that like I can't overpay 20% on. Fucking light industrial building in Irving. Like I'm not paying $1 million for that. Like, you know, and so anyway, I think, but I hired him and because I was like, man, this kid's got balls. Like as silly as that is, I'm like, he was transparent about it. And he's like, we did a flip. I was trying to do my first flip, ran into a bunch of problems. I'm like, whew, been there, brother.
Right.
And he got a hard money loan, really high interest rate, and then tried to put it out on straight up list. And you know, it wasn't logistically close to him. Mm-hmm. So checking on it, you know, just a lot of that is lack of knowledge. Sometimes you have to learn by like the experience of getting your shit kicked in. That's part of like getting this like humility, character building growth that is, and I think that's like, I think that happened with you to a certain extent, like so that you would be able to carry the weight of gold that you're going to be like having later, you know, like I think that with the proper like countenance and the proper stewardship, dude, like I think that's and so I think that's maybe what you see in me. I don't know, like I've you know, I've had moments where I touched greatness, baby, and I had it, and it was like lightning in a bottle, and then you know then I tripped, or like some sort of crazy shit would happen where, you know, like it would just fly out of my hands and then break. And I'm like, what the, And so, I mean, I don't care if anybody, I hope somebody can relate to that, great, but at the end of the day, you have to dust your shit off and get up and do it again, and dust it off and do it again, and dust it off and fucking do it again. And then you're like, God. But this one seems like monetarily and community wise, it's a worthy cause to fight for, because it's only gonna help you grow internally, and it's gonna bring in monetary dollars. And so that's what we all need. Everybody has their why. But I think from the root system, if you looked at Pace as a tree, I don't know the guy from Adam. I really don't, but I would hope that from his root system of the tree, the why was greater than himself, because he saw other people suffering also. And he's like, man, I've got all this success and it's really like not that cool. We got to like teach people how to like figure this out, And so that's when your heart finally gets to that place, that's when you're real, like desperation. And then when you get the clarity of like, when you've helped people when you didn't have shit, and you help people when you really can have a lot of stuff, but you choose that a lot of stuff may come later, but let me help this guy first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is when you become like a juggernaut.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that's what happens. I was a part of championship football teams, I'm from Texas, right? And dude, we were like a family. We did everything together. And I think that was the catalyst of us, And I'll tell you another thing, dude, that's crazy. Before like all this stuff came out about visualization and like you manifest your destiny and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being 16 years old and our coach going, I want you to visualize yourself in the right spot. I want you to visualize tackling. I want you to visualize and doing this. Well, dude, nobody ever taught me how to write it out. Write out affirmations and your belief and what your goals are and all these things. Nobody really taught me that. But I would do that with football. I'd write on my mirror how many tackles I was going to make, how many interceptions I'd have, all of that. And I almost would get it. But I wouldn't. I'd get like a little under it. And so that's why your subconscious has to think about the bigger, because you almost put some crazy shit on there. Like I put on there like, 3 touchdowns. Like I'm on defense, like I'm preventing touchdowns. I put on there 3 touchdowns. I put on there 100 tackles. I put on there how many I put on 5 interceptions. Would end up with like 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown and like, 80 tackles. And you're like, well, damn, that's still pretty good, but setting the target is very important. And so that's going to pivot us into this real quick. If you got time, what is a realistic target? I haven't even watched the first video. Okay. What's the target on deals on for August? How many deals do you think like we will actually close?
Oh, for August?
Yeah.
We could shoot for 4.
Okay.
Let's say.
So 10's a little aggressive.
We can go to 10. Let's do this.
10's aggressive, and August is kind of a transition month because they're going to start school at the end of the month. But let's shoot for 5. No, fuck that. Let's shoot for 10. 10 doesn't work. Whatever.
10 deals. 15 contracts.
Okay.
Not everything closes.
Okay.
That's just the name of the game.
Right.
But if we put together 15 contracts, and so what do we have left in the month?
For 25 days.
25?
I think.
Let's just say that. So if I get 15 contracts, I need to get basically one every other day, something like that.
Okay, bro, I got a deal, bro. So, I got a buddy that used to work for me a couple years ago, and he posted a deal. He started his own private equity firm. Him and his mentor guy, they got a lot of money, but he's got I think they got it locked up at 13.8, and they're
Okay.
doing they put out another round of funding for passive investment for 500,000 to close the deal up, to zip it on up with quarterly returns and a 5-year exit strategy.
Okay.
He finally called me back, but I asked him, I before I even know if this is true or not, I'm like believing, right? I'm like, we can fund your deal faster. So I'm trying to lump in what the underwriting and all that would be. Do we negotiate equity to get it locked up faster, or do we, if we could get 500, just zip to them next week?
Everybody I know is pulling for equity.
Yeah, that I would want that too. I want to know what the stake would be, like if we're just the turbine of rounding up the money. Let's say, okay, even though I have money to put in it, let's say we don't put any money in it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say we have two people that go 250, I'm in.
Yeah. Let's look at the deal and let's figure that out.
Okay, cool. We don't have to do that now, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Send it over and then we'll figure out how we can. So these guys.
I know Braden. Braden worked with me. He was a summer guy. He was a hand. He would just help me with.
Okay.
He didn't even help me with sales. He helped me with labor.
Right.
And this kid went to college, read 4 books that I've yet to figure out what books he was reading, and then says, "Come meet me out in Richardson at my apartment complex." And I'm like, "What?" But he negotiated with his partner on that to run the GC for getting everything on the rent readies going, because it's like 60% vacant,
Right.
and they've already gotten an offer it's not even fucking finished for their exit money, 12.5.
Wow. So it's
like,
not finished.
No, the 13.8's in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a different deal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we went out to look at the one in Richardson, and I'm like, bro, this roof is fucked, and all this GC stuff is not good either. And I want to help you. Like, if you can't find labor or whatever, like, let me help you. Just to try to get, just try to help him. Get in the door where. And he's like, well, what's your, angle on this? And I said, bro, I can kind of be all 3 things. I can be a passive investor to help you, just to build faith, where next deal that comes across the line, you actually tell me that, the stuff on it. And he's been pretty transparent. It's pretty complicated, kind of. It may not be complicated for you, but because I'm kind of a organically grow guy, right? So it's jumping right into, upper level finance that, people got to have a fucking prospectus in the holster before you're even looking at shit. Looking at shit on site is a little different for me, but the numbers I don't care as far as the NOIs, the what's the net, that type of shit I care about, right? But as far as oh, this percentage is getting this percentage, and he said, I put it on we were in here, and it was, if you bring a deal, I think it was 2% of the overall. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that sound 2% of the overall? That sounds legit. So it's 13.8, and you found the deal. You talk to the seller, you cold call them, and they go, yeah, I actually need to offload this shit.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, we can work. We have some underwriting Zooms that we do, and we have some different things that work through the numbers where we work through it. and you join a Zoom with us, and we'll figure all that stuff out.
Okay, yeah, you spend time on that with me, bro. Like we're gonna go the distance, like because I mean this is a week ago. I found out he was in private equity, and I chased his ass down, and I said, "Hey, bro, what's going on over here?" And he's like, "Come meet me on site." And then I talked with him at lunch, and then I'm like, "Hey, how can we help each other?" Well, he's already, but he respects me because he's like, I hired him as a helper. He needed summer money, and like, but he's starting a lot different than we are. He doesn't even realize he's probably going to want a lot of our help on certain things.
Right.
He may have an amazing mentor, but he ain't Jesus. Okay. There's going to be somewhere down the line where you feel like you got on something.
Right.
That, and so, but he negotiated like 6% of the overall deal to do that GC shit. And I thought, God dang,
wow,
something like that's out there for the taking. And this is how it's going. Maybe I should be less stressed out all the time. Like ask for the right shit, So yeah. So let's 10 deals, 15 contracts.
So we need a goal
and collab
for this month. Amazing.
Yeah, and then collab on our first multifamily. It doesn't have any stipulations on it. It's a collaboration of this deal's out of our reach. This deal may be doable. It's in the pipe. Okay.
Love it.
All right.
Love it.
All right, cool, man. Well, love you guys. Hope you have a great weekend. I don't know what that entails. I will be meeting with the other guy I'm hiring and curveballing his ass again. He's like, "So what are we doing, man? Are we commercial roofers?" Or I'm like, "Bro, I don't know yet. Okay, just we're gonna be, deal makers." So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Jonathan's like, "Yeah, John, dude."
Says manifesting the goals. Love it.
Get your ass in the Subto Facebook group and introduce yourself when you get a
Who,
second.
me?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
That's one of your goals. That's one of
so
your.
next time we do this, let's add John. Let's link up, and after close deal one, let's figure out how much money it is for me to rent out Moxie's. They treat me like a king in there. It's great.
Moxie's. He wants to do a meetup at Moxie's.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, we'll do a mixture there, dude, and we'll just absolutely take over. That'll be like do it in October or something. But, all right. Much love. Where can I get this? It's like wants to watch it. Is there a way to get this where maybe my wife can watch like your little testimony of like, this is crazy? Are you sure we should do this shit? Right, Bill? How's that? Well, it's live.
The live for the YouTube will be available like
right away.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Y'all can go back and watch.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell her like how awesome this was, and if she wanted to watch it, she could watch it.
Yeah.
Of course.
So
she knows I'm not bullshitting right now, and I'm still at work.
Luke, before you jump off, where can people find you? How can people get in touch with you with your business?
Okay, so it's on Instagram. It's at Colt Construction Roofing, and then my actual Instagram, which is probably going to be easier to get a hold of me because we just post stuff on the other one, is Landerson, L Anderson 2303. I used to have a Twitter. I got in trouble in college using it, so like that we weren't allowed to like talk to the press, like unless we were allowed to talk to the press, and so I like quit using it and forgot my login. So, and then Facebook, Luke Anderson, Colt Construction. Anything with that realm, you'll get a hold of me.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and Luke at Colt Builds, if you want to send me an email, and I'll have to get Kim to chase it down. So, I just hit me up on Instagram, Landerson 2303.
Love it, man.
We'll
All
see
right,
you.
thank you guys so much.
Have
Do
a good
it.
night.
All right, y'all too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.